Hello again folks, today we're going to look at three-phase and ask the question, what is it? So at home, the electrical supply that's provided into your house is a single phase supply. The electrical supply, however, that's provided to larger buildings, schools, offices, factories, is a three-phase supply. So an obvious question is, why these two systems? Okay, so a three-phase supply is made up of 4 cables, 3 of which are live. So we can call those live 1, live 2, live 3, and then the 4th one is a neutral. Now this way of distributing electricity over 3 lives and a neutral is actually the norm. This is how electricity is generated in the power station. It's how it's transmitted across the country on pylons and underground cables throughout the like of Belfast there. It's how it comes into buildings like this college or schools or factories. The only place really where three-phase stops and single phase comes into its own is within your own home. So if you have a large premises like a factory or a college, all 3 phases are brought into that building. So you have a connection running from live 1, live 2, live 3 and the neutral into the building. However, at home, the supply that you're probably most familiar with, there is only 1 phase brought in. So for instance, it might be blue along with the neutral. So 1 phase plus a neutral is all that comes into your home. Now you might say, well, which phase comes in? And the answer is that the supply company will put the first few houses in a street onto 1 phase, let's say the blue, the next few houses in the street onto the next phase, yellow, next few houses onto the red, because the utility company wants to balance up the amount of electricity being transmitted on all 3 of the phases. For the like of a larger building, and certainly for all of industry, all 3 phases are brought in together. So this is a 3-phase supply, this is a single phase supply. Now there are different voltages available depending on where you make your connections here. So between a single phase and neutral we have 230 volts, and that won't matter whether you come off the blue or the yellow or the red. If you measure between any of the phases and neutral, you've 230 volts. So this is the single phase voltage. If, however, you measure between 2 lives, let's say red and yellow, or yellow and blue, or red and blue, at that point you measure 400 volts. So this higher voltage is useful in industry for driving things like 3-phase motors. So this 400 volt figure is the 3-phase voltage. So 3-phase is referred to as 400 volt, single phase 230 volt, but they're not really 2 different systems. One is a subset, if you like, of the other. 3-phase is the norm. It's generated as 3-phase in the power station. It's transmitted across the country as 3-phase. That's the reason why when you look up at a pylon here, you see this sort of setup here with 3 conductors on each side. This is your red, yellow, blue, your 3 phases. So it goes all around the country as 3-phase. It's only at the very last step of distribution into your house where it becomes single phase, because you're only given 1 of the 3 phases into your home. By the way, if you're of a certain age, you'll recognize these colours perhaps as the colours that used to be used for 3-phase. They should now be, of course this colour code is gone. It should now be brown, black, grey. However, it's simply because I don't have a grey marker that I've gone back to these colours. Okay, and the neutral should actually be blue. So brown, black, grey and blue are the new colours for 3-phase. I just don't have a marker that happens to be grey, so we're just sticking with this for the meantime, but you get the idea. So to summarise, a three-phase supply is made up of 3 lives plus a neutral. Single phase supply, 1 live plus a neutral, that 1 live being one off these 3. So any one of those 3 plus a neutral gives you a single phase supply. And the voltage between any 2 lives, live to live, is 400 volts AC, and live to neutral is 230 volts AC. And there's only one neutral. It's not that each live has its own neutral. The single neutral functions for all 3.